You know you need to say no. You have thought about it. You know it is the right thing. You have even practiced the words in your head. But when the moment comes, something happens. Your heart beats faster. Your stomach tightens. A voice inside says, "Who do you think you are? You are going to hurt them. You are being selfish. You are being too much." And so you say yes. Again. Not because you wanted to, but because the guilt felt unbearable. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. This is one of the most common struggles people face when trying to build healthier boundaries. And the most important thing to understand is this. That guilt is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is a sign that you are doing something new. Let us talk about why. Most people assume that guilt means they made a mistake. That if setting a boundary feels bad, the boundary must have been wrong. But that is not how guilt works. Not always. Guilt is a signal from your nervous system. It is not a verdict. It is not proof of wrongdoing. Sometimes guilt tells you something real. You hurt someone unfairly. You acted against your own values. That kind of guilt is useful. It points toward repair. But there is another kind of guilt. The kind that shows up when you do something that is completely healthy, but unfamiliar to your system. The kind that fires not because you did something wrong, but because you did something different. This is boundary guilt. And for many people, it runs very deep. So where does it come from? The answer, almost always, starts early. Think about a small child. They depend completely on the adults around them. Not just for food and shelter. For love, safety, and a sense of self. A child whose needs are met, whose feelings are respected, whose no is taken seriously, that child learns something important. Having limits is okay. My needs matter. I am allowed to take up space. But many children grew up in a different environment. Maybe saying no led to anger. Maybe having needs was treated as selfish. Maybe love felt like it came with conditions. Be easy. Be agreeable. Do not be difficult. In that environment, the child learns to adapt. They become very good at reading other people's moods. At making themselves small. At saying yes before anyone is disappointed. This is not weakness. This is intelligence. The child found a strategy that kept them safe and loved. Psychologists call this the Fawn response. Most people know fight, flight, and freeze as the three stress responses. But there is a fourth. Fawn. Fawn is the response of appeasing. Of making yourself agreeable to avoid conflict or rejection. Of prioritizing someone else's comfort over your own safety. The term was developed by psychotherapist Pete Walker, who worked extensively with people who grew up in difficult or unstable homes. He noticed that some people, when faced with threat or tension, did not fight back or run away. They smiled. They helped. They agreed. They tried to make the other person feel good so the danger would pass. In childhood, fawning can be a very smart survival strategy. When the people you depend on are unpredictable or demanding, staying agreeable keeps the peace. It protects you from anger. It keeps the love coming. It reduces the unpredictability of your environment. The child who fawns is not weak. They are adaptive. They found the strategy that gave them the best chance of being okay. The problem is that this response does not turn off when you become an adult. It gets wired into the nervous system. Into the automatic, unconscious way you respond to social situations. So when you try to say no as an adult, even to someone completely safe, your nervous system reacts as if your survival is at stake. Your body does not know you are a grown adult with choices. It only knows the pattern. And the pattern says, keep them happy or you will lose something important. That reaction is not weakness. It is a very old program running in the background. Understanding this changes how you see the guilt. The guilt is not telling you that you are selfish. It is telling you that your nervous system is still operating from old rules. Rules that made sense once, but do not fit your life anymore. There is another layer to this worth understanding. Many people were taught, directly or indirectly, that being a good person means putting others first. Always. This message comes from many places. Family, culture, religion, society. And there is something genuinely good in it. Caring for others matters. Generosity matters. But the message often goes too far. It teaches people that their own needs are less important. That self-sacrifice is a virtue. That asking for anything is selfish. When those beliefs run deep, setting a boundary feels like a moral failure. Not just uncomfortable. Wrong. And so the person does not just feel guilty. They feel like a bad person. That feeling is incredibly powerful. Because it goes to the core of how they see themselves. Am I a good person? Am I kind? Am I someone who can be loved? Setting a boundary, even a small one, can make those questions feel suddenly uncertain. So they pull back. They undo the boundary. They apologize. They make it right. And the cycle continues. Here is something important to sit with. There is a difference between being selfish and having needs. Selfish means taking more than your share. Using others for your own gain. Treating other people as less important. Having needs means being human. It means you have limits. You have energy that runs out. You have time that is finite. You have feelings that matter. Recognizing your own needs is not selfishness. It is honesty. Think about a glass of water. If it is empty, you cannot pour from it. You can tilt it as many times as you like. Nothing comes out. Because there is nothing left to give. People work the same way. You cannot give genuinely from a place of depletion. You can only give the appearance of giving, while slowly draining away inside. And a life built entirely on ignoring your own needs does not make you more generous. It makes you more resentful. More exhausted. More hollow. The resentment is the sign. When you notice yourself feeling quietly angry at someone for asking, or tired in a way that sleep does not fix, or like you always give more than you get, that is not the other person's fault. That is the cost of a life without enough limits. The people around you do not ultimately benefit from a version of you that is running on empty. They benefit from a version of you that is actually okay. A version that gives because it wants to. Not because it is afraid to say no. Now let us talk about what happens in the body when you try to set a boundary. For many people, the physical reaction is real and strong. Heart rate goes up. Chest tightens. Throat feels closed. Hands get cold. This is the nervous system activating. Specifically, the sympathetic nervous system. The part that prepares you for threat. Your body is responding to saying no the same way it would respond to physical danger. That is how deep this pattern runs. Not in your thoughts. In your physiology. This is why telling yourself, just be more confident, does not work. Confidence is a thought. This reaction is below thought. The path forward is not to think differently. It is to practice differently. Slowly. Repeatedly. Until the nervous system learns that setting a boundary does not end in catastrophe. Every time you set a small boundary and nothing terrible happens, you give your nervous system new information. You are safe. You are still okay. The relationship survived. That new information, accumulated over time, begins to update the old program. Not quickly. But genuinely. Psychologists call this process desensitization. Gradually exposing the nervous system to the thing it fears, in small doses, until the fear response reduces. You are not born without this skill. You just need to practice it enough times that it starts to feel survivable. And then, slowly, normal. Here is something else worth knowing about boundary guilt. When you first start setting limits, the guilt often gets worse before it gets better. Because the people around you have been calibrated to the old version of you. The one who always said yes. The one who could be counted on to give more than was fair. When you change, some of them will push back. They may express disappointment. Frustration. Hurt. Confusion. Some may say you have changed. And they are right. You have. Some may say you are being difficult. Cold. Selfish. All the words that were used to keep you small in the first place. And that reaction will feel like evidence that you were wrong. But think about what that reaction actually shows. It shows that the old arrangement worked for them. That your saying yes, even at your own expense, was something they relied on. A person who genuinely cares about you will adjust. They may need time. They may feel surprised at first. But they will respect your limits once they understand them. A person who cannot accept any limit from you was not relating to you honestly in the first place. They were relating to what you provided. That is painful to see. But it is important information about who in your life truly sees you and who has only been seeing what you do for them. The relationships that survive your boundaries are the real ones. The ones worth keeping. The discomfort of setting a boundary is real. The guilt is real. The fear is real. But discomfort is not the same as wrongness. You can feel guilty and still be doing the right thing. You can feel afraid and still be making a healthy choice. You can feel the old pull toward appeasement and still choose differently this time. Not because the feeling disappears. But because you understand it now. You know where it comes from. You know it is old information, not current truth. And you know that every time you hold a boundary despite the discomfort, you are not just protecting yourself. You are teaching your nervous system something new. That you are safe. That your needs matter. That having limits does not make you unlovable. That is slow work. It is not dramatic. It does not happen all at once. But it is some of the most important work you will ever do. Because the relationship you have with your own limits shapes every other relationship in your life. And it starts with understanding why the guilt is there. Not to feel bad about it. Not to fight it. Just to see it clearly. And choose differently anyway. One small no at a time. I hope this video brought you something meaningful. If you find it helpful, please like and share it with someone who may need it. Subscribe if you would like to hear more stories like this. Wishing you a calm and peaceful day.